Okay, give me a smooch for good luck. I might not make it back.
Go get him, boss.
You complete me.
You're watching The Film Fix. I'm Jonathan W. Hickman, and this is Jeff Marker. And tonight we took in...
We blasted into summer with Iron Man 2.
We totally blasted into summer with Iron Man 2. Jeff, why don't you tell us what this movie's all about? Like we even care to know. We know that everybody's going to see it. But Jeff, tell us the story.
So I have the impossible task of giving a synopsis for Iron Man 2. Why is it so difficult? Because they've got to live up to some of the biggest hype we've seen in quite a while. And it's a big summer movie, and how do they live up to that? Well, they throw a lot at us. And so let me just hit the high points. Tony has a new villain named Whiplash, and this is played by Mickey Rourke. And without giving away too much, he has a big grudge against Tony that he's got to settle. Tony is also battling some health issues. It turns out that having palladium in your system isn't a good thing, and so he's got to figure that out. There's a rival industrialist named Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, played brilliantly by Sam Rockwell, and he's competing with Tony and trying to outdo him for military contracts and whatnot. Throw in Scarlett Johansson in a cat suit and Sam Jackson with an eye patch, and you pretty much have everything you'd ever want in a summer movie.
All right, let's just knock it out to begin with. Did you like the movie?
I liked it a lot, yeah. It's really, there are other movies we're looking forward to this year, but I'm not sure any of them has this much build-up and expectation. And I think for the most part it lives up. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, I think it does. I mean, more characters, it seems, is really a good thing because, you know, I thought about all of the superhero mythology, and, you know, I thought about Marvel and I thought about DC. And to be honest, I didn't think they could eke out enough pathos from the Tony Stark character. But there is a point in the movie where it slows down enough for us to really care about Tony Stark. And to have this many characters and to still eke out that kind of bit of pathos, I think is a great testament to the film. And maybe it's Jon Favreau that is able to bring that because he's got sort of a swagger now to him.
I think it is a lot of Favreau, but I think it's Robert Downey Jr. I think about this movie the same thing that I thought about the first one. I can't think of anybody else who could pull off this role.
And Gary Shandling plays an absolutely hilarious senator.
Right.
And
he's one of many cameos and small roles, and let's just not even mention the others to ruin anything. But
yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's a very big cast. You know, I thought about what really makes a good superhero movie, and of course the hero is part of it, and then of course the villain. And in this case, there are several villains. I suppose Sam Rockwell could be characterized as a villain, but certainly the Whiplash character, played by Mickey Rourke, is going to be the one that most people are going to talk about.
Well, he's the heavy. Rockwell gets to play the comedic villain, but Whiplash is the heavy. Right?
And incidentally, a lot of things blow up in this movie.
A lot of it. Well, they've got to top the last one. There's plenty of carnage, but it's really not. Did you think it was ultra violent as far as human destruction? I don't think it was.
Well, they do enough with the Whiplash character to make him mean.
Right.
And he does happen to take out a few people. And you know, that is a bit gruesome, and I think that it earns its PG-13. But for the most part, the body count, while has to be high in this, is not visible. Now, what did you think of Mickey Rourke? Do you think Mickey Rourke is a good villain here?
I think he's a very good villain who doesn't get to do nearly enough. We just don't spend a whole lot of time with Whiplash, and it's a pretty standard revenge motivation that he has. And Rourke, you know, I believe I was a little bit intimidated looking at him. Rourke himself was sort of famously beat up at this point, and this and The Wrestler are two very different movies, but they make really good use of just his body in the real...
The physicality of it,
exactly.
yeah, and it's physicality without not actually being physical. So what do you think here? The one failing, if you will, I think, of Iron Man 2 is that when developing Whiplash, he's very one-dimensional. What did you think? Do you think that's a failing to the character development?
I definitely do. I think that's that's maybe the one thing, actually. The motivation for Whiplash is very one-dimensional, and I think they're trying to use the backstory with the fathers to give it a little bit of depth, and it just doesn't quite pan out.
Yeah, you know, and that's the one failing, I think. If the villain had been, and you have such a great actor, really, in Mickey Rourke. If that had been more, I think I would have definitely seen something revolutionary here.
Yeah. But let's get on to the thing that people are really wondering about. How does Scarlett look in the cat suit? Can you believe how much PR has focused on that? Yeah.
No, she looks amazing. And what's interesting about it is she's the bad girl more than anything. I mean, you look at her and it's a sexual presence. And then you look at Pepper Potts and she's prim and proper and she has no armor, okay?
Yeah.
She's not going to fight somebody.
And yet she's still very, very powerful. She wears the business suit and she's powerful. And
she wears the
Scarlett
pants,
needs the cat
certainly.
suit.
Certainly. It's neat to see both of them compared. Overall, did you get your fix from this one?
I did. You know, the benchmark for summer movies now is The Dark Knight, and if that's a 10, this is about a 9 for me. It was
really?
Not classic, but I got my fix. Did you?
Well, no. I did get my fix. I think the movie is really good. It does everything that it needs to do as an in-between movie. So I got my fix, but I wouldn't give it a 9. I would probably say a 6 or a 7 for me. I really enjoyed the movie, but I'm not going to give it a 10 if we use that scale, which we don't. But I did get my fix. Thank you for watching the Film Fix this week. I'm Jonathan W. Hickman, and this is Jeff Marker. And remember, you can always feed your film addiction, or your movie addiction, if you will, by going to dailyfilmfix.com.